30. All right, so this one's our first one. We've got 2x times the quantity 4x cubed plus 5x squared minus x minus 7. Thank you, Sarah. So we're going to multiply this quantity. Awesome. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to do this with distribution. We are going to take this 2x and we are going to distribute it. So we're going to do 2x times 4x cubed. What do we get when we multiply 2x times 4x cubed? What's 2 times 4? 8. X times x cubed gives us how many x's? Not to the 6th. Remember, this is x, and then I could rewrite this as x times x times x. So how many x's do we have altogether? 4. So if you need to write it out, you absolutely can. Totally fine. Because then what we do next is we take this 2x times the 5x squared. So I'm going to erase these 4x's here. So I've got my 2x times 5x squared. That's a 2. There we go. So 2x times 5x squared is going to give us what? 2 times 5 gives us 10. X times x squared gives us how many x's? 3. So our x squared times our x gives us 3 x's. So 10x to the 3rd, right? Then we're going to take our 2x times our minus x. This one was a plus. So we have 2x times minus x. And what that really is 2 times negative 1 gives us negative 2. And how many x's do we have there? X what? What's x times x? It's x squared, right? And then we have one more term to look at here because I need to take this 2x times this minus 7. And we have 2x times minus 7. 2 times negative 7 is negative 14. And then it has an x. So it's been a minute since we did some distributional slow like this. Questions on this step, because the next few we're going to ramp it up. Because our final answer are all these terms on the bottom. It's 8x to the 4th plus 10x cubed minus 2x squared minus 14x, and that's our answer. Yes, dear. The x to the 3rd. So we had x times x squared. So here I kind of wrote it out. So this pink x is this pink x. X squared is x times x, right? So we have 1, 2, 3 x's. That's where we get our exponent. Okay? So if it helps you write it out like that, totally fine. Because we're going to be using this a lot today. We're going to be distributing A bunch. When we are multiplying polynomials, we are going to do distribution a gazillion times. And that is barely an exaggeration. Okay? So whenever we have a polynomial times a monomial, the 2x, that's just a one piece. It's very easy to do our distribution. When we have more than one piece, like if we start looking at these, you can absolutely use our distribution, which is what I prefer to do. You can also pull back some old school skills of like the box, of the box, and multiply it in the box. Totally fine. I tend to do distribution because it actually takes up less space on the paper. But if you like the box away. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply this left-hand pair. We've got 3x plus 5 times x minus 7. And what we're going to do is we're going to distribute the pieces from the left binomial onto the pieces of the right one. So what I mean by that is I'm going to take my 3x and we're going to distribute that. So 3x times x gives me 3x squared. Then we're going to do 3x times minus 7. 3x times minus 7, 3 times 7 is negative 21x. My shoes are squeaking like crazy. It's driving me nuts. There we go. Then we're going to take our second term, and we're going to multiply this guy. I'm going to take my 5 times the x, and we're going to have a positive 5x. And then we're going to have the 5 times the minus 7. And we get minus 5 times 7 is 35. Questions on any of those pieces? Because then we have to simplify. Okay, so let's look at this and see if we can simplify this. We need to combine some like terms here. What like terms do we have? The 21x and the 5x. So we'll combine those together. So we're going to have 3x squared negative 21 plus 5 is negative 16x minus 35. Questions on that one? Give us a barrier. Oh, I smell that orange. It smells lovely. Okay. When we go to bigger things like this trinomial over here, it's not any different. We're just going to be careful. I'm still going to take my first polynomial, and we're going to take my first term, which I'm going to use my skinnier pen or I'm going to run out of space, to the first term of the second polynomial. So we're going to take 2x squared times x, which is 2x to the what? How many x's do we have? 3. Then we're going to take my 2x squared times the positive 2. And that's going to give us 4x squared. Then I'm going to take my 3x. And it's going to get a little crissy-crossy, so we're going to just draw them as we go. So 3x times x gives us positive 3x squared. And we're going to take our 3x times our 2, and we get plus 6x. Then I'm going to take my 5 out the bottom because it's going to get a little crissy-crossy on the top. So we're going to have 5 times our x, giving plus 5x. And one last term, where I take my 5 times my 2 to get plus 10. So it gets very, very arrowy, but if you draw them as you're working, don't try and draw all the arrows at the start. Draw them as you're working. It helps you keep track of what we're doing. Okay? You can absolutely still box these if you love to box multiply. If that is where you are comfortable, this is still absolutely doable in a box. Same vibe as the last time we boxed. But the box actually takes up a lot more space. And so this is more compact, and it's honestly, I think, faster. Because now everything's already out. These are all the terms that you would have had in the box. We would have had to pull them out and then combine our like terms. So let's go through and combine some like terms here. I don't have any other cubes, so we know we're going to have our 2, ooh, that's the wrong color, 2x cubed. I have 4x squared and 3x squared, giving us plus 7x squared. I have 6x and 5x, giving us 11x. And then that plus 10 on the end doesn't have anybody to combine with. Okay, any questions on these ones? Hopefully should be vaguely familiar. Only have one more notch to kick it up. But it's okay, I promise we'll be fine. Okay, so let's look at this one. We're asked to multiply. Now I have 3 things here. And what we're going to do is we're just going to break them up into pairs. So instead of trying to multiply all the things times all the things, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pretend you don't exist, and we're going to multiply those 2 together, and then I'll multiply this one in. So we're going to do a distribution twice. So we're going to start with multiplying these 2 binomials together. So, let me grab my color. I'm going to take my 2x times my x to get 2x squared. And I'm going to take my 2x times my minus 3. Oh, I don't like to do the blue and the purple. They're too close together. To get minus 6x. Whenever you see a set of parentheses, treat it like a stop sign. We're just going to stop right there. Don't cross another set of parentheses. So then we're going to take our 5 and multiply that through. 5 times x gives us plus 5x. And 5 times minus 3 gives us minus 15. These guys are all still living in a set of parentheses because this 3x plus 2 is still out here. So before I go and start distributing again, I want to simplify my left-hand one, that colorful one. Because I don't want to have to deal with more things than I have to. So we're going to have our 2x squared. And our like terms, we've got a minus 6x and a positive 5x. which is going to give us negative 1x minus 15, and that's still times 3x plus 2. So multiplying the left pair, we got it back down to a trinomial. So we did this one, got it fully simplified and put it here. And now we're going to distribute again. We're going to distribute this left-hand guy onto the right-hand guy. I'm going to take the trinomial multiplied against the binomial. So I'm going to take my 2x squared times my 3x, and what are we going to get? 6x cubed. Then we're going to take our 2x squared times 2 to get plus 4x squared. Then we're going to take the 1x, the minus 1x times the 3x, and we get minus 3x squared. And then we're going to take our minus 1x times the positive 2 to get minus 2x. Last couple, and we may need a calculator for that, and that is okay, because we have minus 15 times 3x. 15 times 3 is actually 45, so we have minus 45x. Feel free to use the calculators, like totally a thing. Negative 15 times 3, you get negative 45. You can't put the x's in, but you can use it for the numbers. And then we have one last term up here. I have my minus 15 and my positive 2, and we're going to have minus 30. So again, it got very, very arrowy. But if you use the arrows as a tool to figure out your distribution, it's not the worst. It does take up significantly less space than boxing. Because then we're almost done. We just need to combine some like terms. My 6x cubed doesn't have any buddies with it. But I've got a 4x squared and a minus 3x squared, which gives us 1x squared. I've got minus 2x and minus 45x, giving us minus 47x and minus 30. Your like terms might not always be next to each other. So make sure you're looking across your whole equation for combining like terms, very much like when we did our adding on Monday. Okay, so make sure you're watching for like terms in other places, but other than that, it's the exact same thing when we get to our combined like terms. Questions on this one? We only have one more to go, and it's just like this one. I'm just doing it again. Okay? Boop. So just like it, we just have more numbers. 3x minus 4, 2x plus 3, 3x minus 2. And again, we're just going to break it up into pairs. I'm going to multiply the left two together. We're going to pretend this guy doesn't exist, and we're just going to multiply those two together. So 3x times 2x gives us what? 6x squared. Good. Then we have our 3x times our 3, giving us 9x, exactly right. Then we're going to have our minus 4. Come on, pen. There we go. Times our 2x, giving us what? And then minus 4 times positive 3. We get minus 12. And these guys are still in a set of parentheses because we still have our 3x minus 2 over here. They're still hanging out. We're just working inside the parentheses to make our lives easier, not have to deal with quite so much grossness. So from here, I'm going to combine my like terms on my left-hand side. Getting my 6x squared. 9x minus 8x gives us plus 1x minus 12. And it's still being chased by that 3x minus 2. So we've done our first round of distribution. And now we're going to do it again. So we're going to take our 6x squared times our 3x. So we're going to get some bigger numbers here. 6 times 3 gives us 18. And x squared times x gives us x cubed. I'm just going to rewrite that a little bit lower. I'm not going to have any space for arrows. Then I'm going to take my 6x squared times my minus 2. 6 times negative 2 gives us negative 12x squared. Then I need to do the same thing with my 1x. I'm going to take my 1x times my 3x, which gives me 3x squared. Then we're going to take our 1x times our negative 2 to get negative 2x. So then we're going to take our minus 12 times 3x. And remember, it's okay to use our calculators if we don't remember our 12's times tables. So negative 12 times 3x gives us minus, what? Did I remember 12 times 3? Negative 36. X, because this was times 3x. And then we have one last multiplication here. We're almost done with it. Negative 12 times negative 2 gives us positive 24. From here, all we need to do is combine our like terms. We've done all of our multiplication stuff. Thank you. Okay, so all we're going to do from here is combine our like terms. I've got my 18x cubed. I've got negative 12x squared and positive 3x squared. Giving us negative 9x squared. Minus 2x minus 36x gives us minus 38x plus 24. So we have a lot of pieces here. Sometimes our numbers get a little bit bigger, but it's just distribution, which we have done before. It just looks big and arrowy. Okay. Questions on this one? This is our last one for today. Okie dokie. So what you're going to do today is you're going to finish up homework 4-3. That's the one I gave you on Monday. The back side is all multiplication, so you have plenty of time. Also, if you didn't get to it yesterday, you could go work on the e-learning assignment, which is up on Canvas from our e-learning day yesterday. Okay, so use this time, ask questions. I'm here. I am happy to help you with stuff. I'm going to say finish. And yes, dude. Yes.